Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. Today, we just celebrated the ship's 80th birthday, and quite frankly, it's been a busy day and we're all dead tired around here, so this is going to be a significantly shorter video than normal. One of the aspects of celebrating the day was we dressed the ship for colors.
Right now the sun is just starting to come up here in Camden. It is about 6:30. We've been here for almost an hour now.
Which meant coming in at 6 a.m. to make sure all the glad rags were up on the up and overs. And one aspect of that was once we had all the signal flags up on the halyards, we had to belay the lines. And doing this, found out that many of my coworkers don't know the right way to belay a line. So we're just going to do a short video here and talk about how you do that. So you've got cleats like this welded to the rail, or in some instances, say with the signal flags up above, you've got pin rails mounted in a rail on the side of the ship. Either way, the result is the same. You've got a tab coming up, you've got a tab coming down. So you're essentially just making figure eights around those. Easy as pie. So we've got a line here that's just made up above, but your first most important lesson is never let go of the line, especially if you've got a flag on it. The wind's going to take that flag and this thing's just going to blow wherever, and you may not be able to recover it easily. Learn that one the hard way. So always keep a hand on the line, and the only other rule is you always go from the top right to the bottom left. Top right, bottom left. So whichever direction your line is leading from, so ours is coming from over here, you want to go to the pin or the cleat so that it's not crossing other stuff. You don't want it in the way so that when you end up doing your figure eight that you get this covered. So this one we're going to start at the bottom so that it is not getting in the way of everything else going on. Get it as tight as possible, and you can get it to the cleat here and then give it a good pull. That's very common when you've got a flag on it, it's trying to pull away with the wind. So you want to get it as tight as possible, and then you always go to the top right to the bottom left. Top right to bottom left. And you want to do 2 full turns on it, and then on your third turn you just whip it around like that. This is to lock it in place. And with this line, you also want it to end up behind or below your other lines. And that's going to help it all lock in place. You pull it tight like that, and now, because there is tension on this, it is holding it all taut. It's not going to go anywhere. But it's real easy when you have to take this flag down again, then boop, that comes off and you just untie it. Now, 3 is the standard. Depending on how much line you use, you might just run out of this at 4 and then you can just leave it hanging like that. So sometimes people will do a little bit more than 3 or 4 just to get the rope out of the way. With this line, we've got a ton left over, so the next thing you would do is coil it all up. The key to coiling a line like this is you want to use your arm and go out the same distance every time so that your line ends up being the same length for the whole coil. And once you've got your coil, you're just going to take the lower part of the line and pull it through your coil like this and loop it on, and then your coil's just hanging there. And this is a really long line, so we're not going to coil the whole thing. But then it's just hanging there out of the way, nice and fancy. Yeah, so this is a basic sailor's skill that goes all the way back beyond the age of sail. As soon as people started rigging their ships, this was one of the first things that sailors learned how to do. And it is still functional on modern ships and museum ships as well, because we're always using these flags. So a little bit of the vocabulary. To make a line off like this, you go back to the old terminology for it, because Navy, you never let progress stand in the way of tradition. So the term you use is belay. You are belaying the line when you make it off. If you're not using a cleat, you are using a belaying pin to belay your line off. These belaying pins are inserted into pin rails, which is just a railing that has a bunch of holes in it that the belaying pins can go to. And that goes all the way back to sailing ships, where you might have to move your lines and your pins and where they're leading to around the ship. The whole key of this is that you don't have loose line laying all over the deck for people to trip on. So that's why you're always belaying your line so that it's tight, it's not going anywhere, and then it's all cleaned up and not a tripping hazard. And so belaying pins and pin rails allow you to move that line around as needed to make sure you've got a good lead to where the pin is. Battleship New Jersey has a handful of belaying pins that are mostly ceremonial, and otherwise on her and other metal ships, they tend to be more cleats like this. They're just welded on wherever they're needed. And so if we needed to, we could go down to this cleat, or there's other ones around this space. So what are some other basic sailing skills you'd like to see us cover on the channel? We'd love to get some 5-minute content ideas for the really busy days, like today, May 23rd, the ship's 80th anniversary of being commissioned. But drop a note in the comment section, let us know. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support. There's a link in the description below for ways you can donate to support the museum. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find about the museum and our channel. Thanks for watching.